Next on values, courage.
Welcome to Values You Can Use. Today's value is all about being courageous, or courage. And where do we see that in the Bible? There's a moment where Moses is passing it on to Joshua, and here's the charge, Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. Do not tremble or be dismayed. Why? For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So in instilling this idea of courage to our children, if they have Jesus in their hearts, He is their Lord and Savior. If we have that, then we can be courageous.
With our daughter, Tiana, I remember she used to be fearful of the dark. Sometimes she still is. And what my husband told her was, you don't have to fear because Jesus is here. So she was going through the hallway one time and she said, do not fear, Jesus is here. And she internalized that. And it's about assuring our children that even if we may not be there all the time, that Jesus is always with them. And it's also about encouraging them to go outside of their comfort zone. You know, there's a time when our kids were at a play place, I won't name the name, but they were being bullied by somebody. And one of my sons came up to me and said, what should I do, Mom? And I said, well, maybe you should try reaching out to that kid. Maybe he's somebody lonely. And it was uncomfortable for them, but they did that. They reached out to this boy, and at the end of their hour there, that boy told my sons, can we be friends? You're my best friend. And apparently he was some lonely kid who needed somebody to reach out to him. So sometimes it's also about teaching our kids to go outside of their comfort zone, what is easy for them, and challenging them to do something that may be difficult or uncomfortable.
Right, and reach out to other people specifically in that case, right? A practical way, one last tip that we want to give is stretching our children beyond what they think their limits are to limits we feel that they can actually stretch beyond. For example, we were in Palawan with my son Eden, and we were going to climb this tall tower, take a wonderful zip line, but he was afraid. He said, I don't want to do it, Daddy. He starts crying. I'm like, Eden, you are a young man. We need to be brave. Remember, have no fear. Jesus is here. So he starts whimpering, okay, Daddy. He goes up all the way to the tower. He's still whimpering. And I say, Eden, have no fear. Jesus is here. As he closes his eyes and straps himself in, he gets pushed off. He takes the zip line. He starts opening his eyes. And at the end of it, let me tell you something. He says, Dad, I want to go again. And I realized as long as we know what their limits are and they think that they can't go past a certain point, encourage them to be brave and courageous and see what God can do in changing that in their young hearts. So be courageous. God bless.